Trustees of the Village of North Bennington. This is the normal monthly meeting, and we are starting off, well, there are a few changes to the agenda, so let me mention that. The Sage City Symphony, who was going to be speaking first tonight, they're unable to attend, so they have asked, they'd really like to be able to talk to the public, and they've asked if they could come in January. So we'll put that off to the side. Also on the agenda, 8:05, new business citizen comments. Alyssa had informed me this evening here that she is postponing those comments, so we will not do that. However, in its place, we have two matters to talk about in executive session. We will discuss when we get there, but there is a legal issue for the Board of Water Commissioners and a personnel issue for the village. So we will add two separate executive session items at the end of the meeting. So now that we're here, we are going to kick right off, and we will ask Polly to unmute and tell us a little bit about Park McCullough. I know Polly is new to Park McCullough, so welcome.
Thank you very much. And everyone bear with me. This is my first shot at something like this. And I don't know exactly what is expected, but I do have a tendency to ramble. So I wrote down some thoughts to be sure that I don't ramble in a situation like this. So hello, my name is Polly Rain. So the quick introduction is that I'm new here and new to many of you, and I wanted to explain that I've been working in the position of interim operations manager at the Park McCullough since June of 2023. I have been offered recently and have accepted the role of museum director. That has started officially about a week and a half ago or so, although the news is not out yet. You are the few of the first, so keep it under wraps, please. And thank you for being the first to know.
Thank you.
So I moved to Southern Vermont from the center of the state for a role at Hildene as creative and marketing director. I was at Hildene for 3.5 years. I came to North Bennington to work for the Park McCullough, and I am absolutely in love with the community. I've had an incredible time so far getting to know some of you, and I hope to get to know so many more of you as time passes. Let's see. So it's my goal for the organization to be deeply woven into the community, into the community organizations, and into the community's initiatives. So many or most of you are far more knowledgeable about the Park McCullough's history than I am, and please, I invite you to ring me up or send me an email and fill me in on anything you think is relevant. I always absolutely love input as well, so please do be in touch. So the Park McCullough board had a strategic planning session this fall. Those of you who were involved in or read our annual meeting and financials report might have noticed that we are 70K in the red. This initiated sort of a deep dive into questions around why and how for the board at the Park McCullough. So in part, as you know, the buildings, regular maintenance and upkeep, regular repairs are substantial. Any monies raised from public programming, donations, membership, museum admissions, and town appropriations. Thank you. For instance, do not cover all of those expenses. And when you have staff salaries on top of that, makes it even harder. So I am the one full-time person, and we continue to have 2 part-time staff as well. So we also have an amazing group of volunteers, and as you all probably know, that pool is dwindling. It seems to be getting smaller and smaller. So our board, of course, is made of volunteers as well, and they're very much hands-on, all of them, which is fantastic. They're also full-time ensconced in their own careers. And so not only are they really all hands in for us, but they are busy with their own lives. So we have the usual struggles that a lot of nonprofits have, I think. What I wanted to be sure to tell you about was 2024 and our plans. Those of you who maybe have seen our annual fund appeal, you may also have read that we have a theme for 2024, and that is women of the house and women in community. And so we are really looking forward to diving into the history of the Parks and the McCulloughs, diving into the history of how they contributed to the community, both the local community and regional community. And I am personally interested in interweaving the amazing women and women identified in our community today.
Holly, 2 minutes.
Great, that are doing amazing things. So that brings me to the end. Actually, I will wrap up here.
Thank you.
And that's to say that we have an opportunity this year to really dive into that theme. I'm personally looking forward to it because I've been enjoying getting to know everyone. I made this little diagram as I was thinking about this meeting. I'm sure most of you can't see this, but there's a point I wanted to make, which is we have 3 pieces of our vision. It is community, the arts, and history. And I've listed a bunch of the organizations in North Bennington that I've learned about who are doing the same. So what I've learned from being here is that if we all work together, and I am so excited, heads up to everyone, that I intend to contact you with some great ideas for partnerships. Because I think that that is where we'll find real success.
Thank you, Polly.
Yeah.
That was wonderful.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And at any time, if you have news to share, we, the trustees, are happy to include what we call partners as well in the community. Anyone can come, and if there is something exciting to share, please let us know and we'll do so. Thank you so much. Yes.
Holly, hi, my name is Doug Bugey. I'm the treasurer for the village. Do you receive an allocation from the town of Bennington?
Actually, the board was discussing that just a couple of weeks ago, and we are looking into our financial records. So as ridiculous as that might be for me to say, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm still learning those financial records. Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe the same question for Shaftesbury, if you want to look into that.
Shaftesbury, although we have not for the past few years, we had for many years prior. So yes, I did apply to Shaftesbury.
How much was your request for Shaftesbury?
2,000.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Matthew Perry, Vermont Arts Exchange, yet another partner in the community. Darn it. Matthew, I wanted to bring that great big picture and I didn't get over to see Norm today. I'm going to show that at another meeting just because it's fabulous.
If you want to come closer just to the audio.
Yeah, I apologize. I had a computer snafu at the last minute. Thank God.
That always happens.
So
go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry,
Yeah.
I had to throw that at you.
You're fine.
So if I can just look, I'm just going to show pictures and talk.
Yeah,
if that's okay.
and we'll give you a 2-minute.
Okay, and how
So I don't
long
know
do
if
I
we
have?
would be able to.
5, okay.
Do you want to try to share this?
Yeah. Hold on, let me see. Wait, I don't have a thing. Do I have one over here? See, you're not the only one. I'm very challenged myself here. No,
Xfinity wants a new password every time they turn my computer on.
no, I did here.
That's right.
And
That first one,
So,
just make sure it opens, and then if you
And
okay,
then-
so minimize and then share your screen, and then everybody should be able to see it. Share screen.
You got it.
okay, it takes a village to get me to figure out how to share too.
just look at
So-
someone's,
You can use
okay,
mine.
I know. All right, this is good.
Okay,
Okay, so this picture right here is, you know, the money that you have been giving us is, I look at it as an investment. That you're investing in the town and we're investing too. And this is the new building that we're just putting up. And it's a wood shop mixed media studio. And we can go to the next, I'll just say next. And that's the one on the right is the one that's finished. And this is, it's a great space and it has an overhang for outdoor, for our concerts and for various events. So it's will improve all of our community gathering. Next. And then, yeah, right there is our ARPA money at work, putting our handicapped access into the building and a smooth walkway going into the door, so we don't have to get a head start with the wheelchairs and go up the plywood ramp. And the inside bathroom is all completed. I don't have any pictures of it, but you're welcome to come by and use it. Yeah, and there's the walkway there, entrance
Looks good.
coming in. So we brought in a lot of gravel and we leveled it off and made a nice entrance. Next. So also I want to talk about relationships, and we have a relationship with the village, obviously, but also a special relationship with Norm LeBlanc from the highway department. And this is a picture of the annual, this was last year's snowplow, painting of the snowplow. And Norm and I go way back with the fire department, with the public art that was that's at the fire department now. And so he's a very creative guy. And so he always has lots of ideas and we work well together. And it's a very unique relationship. Next is another one. This again was a collaboration during COVID where we wanted to celebrate all the graduates. And again, this was Norm's idea. Let's paint Pudding Hill and make a big sign. And so we did this one. And the next one is we invited the community to make cards and to make signs and also congratulating them. So we hung those on the basketball fence. Also a relationship with Kevin. I think for the past 10, 15 years, he's been cooking at the NBOSS opening exhibit, and we do a lot of partnerships and have a lot of relationships with area businesses.
people trying to get in, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Oh, what did I do?
You maximized it.
Yeah. just
Okay.
minimize that.
This one?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, sorry. Okay, now what's next? It's not going to the next. Oh, we'll do this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, another partnership is the relationship with the fire department in North Bennington, which is really important. They come pretty much anytime we call, and I don't mean emergencies, but like this is Camp Danger, and they always come and they show how to use fire extinguishers and do various things, CPR. This is them at Camp Danger. Next is Then the Village Block Party, that was this year. We've been doing the Village Block Party through the North Bennington Roundtable, another partnership, another organization that we work with. And they've come for the past 3 or 4 years cooking the food, and it's now become a fundraiser. All the money raised for this goes back to them. And the next
Them being
one,
the fire
That
department,
was the
Pardon?
last one.
them being the fire department.
the fire
Oh,
department,
no,
right,
there was-
right.
there's more.
And they're always, with all of our parades, they're always there. This year, they led the parade. It was April of 2020, the height of COVID, when we had our Stay in Your Car parade. Another relationship is with you guys,
Mhm.
and you know, we're always asking you for permission and things like that, and money. And this is one way that we're giving back. Was the pink one was the old town reports, and now we're doing covers with artwork from kids and from professional artists and writing, and that's a lot of fun. We really enjoy that. Also, this is the public art utility pole that we call it downtown. This is the 5th grade last year, posing in front of it, covering it actually. And the village school, we contract with them every year to do the art program, and that's them at work
That's pretty
inside.
extensive in there.
Yeah, it's an art studio. It should
Yeah.
be
That's cool.
extensive and intensive.
Oh, yes.
We also exhibit the work, and we bring it up to the Southern Vermont Art Center for the annual art exhibit there. And the next shot is of the Left Bank Gallery. We always have a great relationship with them, and we have our annual exhibit there, which is always nice too. We also work with North Shaft
2
Lions.
minutes.
Okay, North Shaft Lions. And also Park McCullough House, and this is Head Start kids. And Park McCullough House during the block party. And local musicians, a lot of this is local musicians are Joe Turchiarello, Jeff McCrae playing at the Village Block Party. And the next one is also this year with Lee Paquin. So we pay a lot of artists local artists whenever we can to perform. This was at Winterfest this past year through the Roundtable. Jeff McCrae's Bennington band. This is the Lake Perrin Bluegrass Festival from 15 years ago.
No.
And what?
I said, no, not 15.
Was it? Yes, it was.
It's
Yep.
purple jacket.
Okay, 12 years ago. Also at Lake Perrin is the Camp Danger. Those were us floating across the rafts we made last year. We come over every day for lunch at the lake. We love the lake. Also, we go up to Bennington College. The students there are doing a workshop painting the art bus. And the next shot is them in the campus studios in VAE.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to.
Okay. And the Tumar building downtown, just keep going.
Yeah,
Yep, and the Halloween
Yeah.
parade, you can go through these. The Halloween parade is always a good time to stay in your car parade. Some great drone shots of the village by Michael Beach. We built a stage on the bus. And the NBOSS exhibits the town.
and boss again. Yeah.
We work with them.
Yes.
And this is
right.
just all the rain, you know, despite the rain at the Halloween parade and the NBOSS opening, we still had a couple hundred people show up, and that's a real good sign, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And is that it?
No, but that's it for.
Okay, that's it, all right, so it goes on, but I just want to go back to what Polly said, is that the partnerships in this village are really, that's what's successful, and
Indeed.
I agree with her, and
Yeah.
you can see that there are all
Yeah.
these partnerships in this.
And I think everybody in this room and everybody presenting, everybody that the village supports we're all doing that. And you know what? It just shows what treasures we have in our 2 square miles. So thank you, Matthew, as always.
Would you want to jump right back?
Love you, man. Incredible.
Your drive back.
Yes.
No.
Okay, so I know this is not a lot of time and we do invite people to come back.
I just wanted to say.
Yes, yeah,
Do you have allocations from either Bennington or
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
I did send you links to this little presentation, so I don't know.
If you did, I don't know where they are.
Let's see if I can find it.
In your.
When did you send
Just
that?
5 minutes.
Well, then, no, I don't have it.
Okay, so then I would like.
Just,
folks to be able to see it, but I don't know how to do both.
Here,
So
can you
how-
make it so I can screen share?
Did you?
yeah,
Okay, I sent it to, I think everyone, if I have their,
where do, multiple, share.
including you, Scott. I know you don't really do, know very much.
Are you in there now?
Hold on. Can you folks a little bit?
Yeah, I can share.
Okay,
Okay, so this is gonna be sort of talk free, and
Yes.
then I will answer
yes,
questions,
yes,
okay?
because we're running.
Where
a
I know
little
I'm
bit.
going quick.
Okay,
Once, yeah, it's not up yet.
okay.
You can mute the music if you don't like.
Is that yours?
Can you mute?
Okay, I can find it.
So it's sort of like a PowerPoint really, but it moves on its own.
Oh,
Okay,
Okay.
do you wanna,
Oh,
so we're
just press, go,
Yeah,
press
yeah,
go?
just go, because I'm already on the
Okay.
third slide where it's talking about our camp, where we. Friends, our library, of course, our regular partners in the village of North Bennington. We had 108 kids who registered, and we gave a lot, we raised a lot of money to give free or low coupon memberships to kids. We have been doing a lot of survey of the community. We are in Chelsea, Vermont, and doing places surveys to try to understand what the needs of the people that live here are. And also housing and transportation, I'm on 1, 2, and 3 outdoors.
Alyssa, we can't
employ
hear you.
people from this community and Shasberry and Bennington. So there are lifeguards and our snack bar staff. We have a pretty strong relationship with Vermont Higher Ability, which are disabled young adults, and we always have a small team of those kids that have done working with us. North Bennington gives us a grant every year, which we use for free memberships, which include school and families that are in financial need. And really, we, even despite the fact that we have very good attendance. We have been trying to make the at least disabled adults, if not like swim laps. We are trying to expand our income generation through rentals of the pavilions and the facility. We've been doing lots of cooking classes, because we have a licensed commercial kitchen. So we've been opening that up to individuals that may have small businesses, but also to professional chefs that want to do cooking classes. Our pavilions are lovely and make very nice spaces for reunions and parties and weddings. We always have events, as you know, Winterfest usually has a lunch. Last year we had weather-related problems. We're struggling with how to make up for the money that we lost from the plunge and it's 32 degrees below zero. And also the fireworks, we got rained out twice. So we are sort of down from our regular We've been doing a lot of community education around the environment. We've been developing a collaboration with the village to deal with the potential of flooding and saving us from floods. And we raised $110,000 to buy the weed harvester, which is beautiful. It's beautiful, just a beautiful thing. Hello. So we're very happy with that. We are really trying to promote the parents for healthy community well-being and improving people's health and community. So we'll be working with some cities and organizations around that. And as we learn more, as we larger groups of people, including funders, what the real resources are that we have to offer here, not just with us, but in the village in general. We have a more traditional worker who's made a lot of difference in the way we work, because we now have some full-time staff, which we never had until 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And it's really, it's a sweet thing, that's all I can say, in how things operate there. We have a lot of supporters from the community as well as the other not-for-profits, and there you go. That's right.
Next year, we will try to start this a lot earlier.
Because we have a lot to say.
But you
And-
do, and it's
yeah.
important, and it's more, not so much we want people to come and beg for money.
Yes,
But it's an opportunity
Yes.
for the public to see
yes,
all these tremendous things that
Yes.
are going on.
yes.
I will find out whether we can get this,
Yeah.
this and Matthew, your slides too. We'll see if we can get that on the website
Great.
along. Maybe that can be connected under
Okay,
these
wonderful.
meetings, and the
That'd be
same
great.
thing with the
I mean,
library.
it'll be
Yeah.
on the recording if you go to Cat
Yeah.
TV.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
but
that-
it'd be nice for
It would be
people
great
to
to
see, so
promote
thank
that,
you so
yes.
much.
And we do get
Okay.
allocations from Bennington and Shaftesbury. We get $2,700 from Bennington, we get $2,500 from Shaftesbury. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, thank you, everybody, and really, we so appreciate
of
the
course.
village and everything.
And you are sticking around for the another
I
agenda
am,
item.
except that Joe's truck battery has died, and I may
Okay.
have to go. I'd
Okay,
like to say
you
that.
welcome to it. If you are not back, we will adjust our agenda so that,
Oh, thank you.
we can
Well,
do that.
I-
okay. All right,
Thank you.
so
Rusty.
Sandra, the floor is yours, please.
Wonderful. Hi, everybody. Happy holidays. So I'm a volunteer for the North Bennington Roundtable, and this is a group that really began to form around 2017 and 2018, and it grew out of really echoing what all of you wonderful folks have shared. It grew out of our belief that partnership and collaboration and sharing our resources as a village helps build a really strong community. So a whole bunch of neighbors and nonprofits and businesses got together and we created what we call the North Bennington Roundtable. And the village does support us financially. They write a check for $500 every year to help with our initiatives. And our initiatives are really simple. It's really about building community, meeting our neighbors, sharing a meal with our neighbors, creating an environment that celebrates this amazing village we live in. So our initiatives are pretty simple. And the organizations that are involved, to name a few, are folks like Lake Perrin, the Park McCullough House, the McCullough Library, Vermont Arts Exchange, the Village School of North Bennington, Powers, the Left Bank, Southshire School, Head Start, Prospect Coffee, Kevin's, and Hulu Poo. I think that's how you say it. But more, individuals help, the Prospect Writers Workshop. Lots of folks come together to help create community experiences. So in December, and if you look right down the street, that beautiful ginkgo tree is lit with beautiful white lights. And that's a real gift from the village that helps fund that. And the Roundtable and Ron Pembroke, who puts his crew on the bucket to go up and down and light that tree for us so the village is lit up for the holiday season. And in September, we host the Village Block Party, and Matthew Perry showed you some of those pictures, and Park McCullough partners with us by offering their beautiful facility for us to host the Village Block Party that has wonderful and delicious potluck. There's music and games for families, and we meet our neighbors there as we walk through the Highland Hall Gardens. And in the summer, the roundtable helps fund the bands for the sculpture show, for the North Bennington Sculpture Show. And then in February or January, depending on the weather, we host the Winter Fest, and you're going to start seeing lots of information around that. Matthew's already painted the penguins, and they're down in Lincoln Square and around town, and so we'll be celebrating winter together as a community. So we are really simply about bringing the community together and celebrating it and sharing our time and our families and our friends here in this really beautiful spot in Vermont. So that's it.
Thank you so much for all the volunteers that work with that. And I know several of our board members work with that as
Absolutely.
well. So what a wonderful, wonderful thing.
And
Thank
it
you.
is, everyone's invited. The more the merrier.
And I saw a sign out already.
Yep.
So, good. Jenny and your contingency or your contingent.
Your cohort.
Yes.
Should I bring up the hot seat here? Is the?
You do whatever you want, Jenny,
Oh, all right.
whatever makes you comfortable.
Yes, I guess I'll.
And thank you for sending the report that you sent earlier.
So, yeah, and that packet that I sent along, had our report for the yearly publication. It also had our, strategic plan, our 2023 to 2026 strategic plan, and a bit of a statistical snapshot of, last December 1st to this December 1st. And, which brings me to like a year ago, leading up to the library's reopening after renovations, I was worried. Are people gonna come back? Was this all worthwhile? Like, did we do it right? All of those, anxieties creeping up. And boy, howdy, have they. So this year, we've had, again, our best year for use of the collection ever. We've welcomed more people through the doors. We've had 460 new memberships this year. Our previous record was 275. The library is a busy, thriving place, and they're making good use of the new features, including our meeting space and the new restrooms, and the better air quality, which I guess you can't really try, but they are, they're breathing. And, so, and the electrical wiring is safer than it has been. So they returned to a safer, more accessible building. And, my colleagues and I have hosted 230 events. That's everything as simple as yarn crafting Tuesdays between 12 and 4, or something as complicated as a summer reading program for youth. And so for our summer reading program, we had 126 kids register, and together they read 111,550 minutes, which I believe was third or fourth in the state, which for a tiny, well, for Vermont, mid-sized little library is impressive. So we've had a really good year, and we've also had the opportunity to sort of reflect and plan for the next phases. Including, we are renovating the youth room on the library's second floor, and that was through a really generous donation from the family of Bonnie Dundas, the former children's librarian. And so if you have kids, or if you care for kids, come to the library. We're gathering feedback for what you all need and want out of that space, and letting caregivers and children lead that effort. Because we don't know, we're just gonna guess, without feedback. Other initiatives that we have, planned for the future include, our Sustainable Libraries Initiative, certification, which, allows us to put every decision the library makes, that's policy, spending, whatever it is, through the filter of, is it environmentally sustainable? socially equitable and financially responsible. That's every single decision and policy through those filters. And that is aligning what we do with best practices as outlined by the American Library Association. So we want to make sure we're doing it right. Gosh, what else do we have planned for the year ahead? Right now I call this squirrel season. This is where we're gathering our resources and planning for the seasons ahead. So a lot of it is grant applications to see if we can do weatherization and building efficiency projects. What else are we doing? Sustainable libraries, accessibility and energy efficiency upgrades. And we're planning to bring on Zenio, which is unlimited access to over 3,000 popular magazines through Libby, which is our ebooks and digital audiobooks. So it's got all the biggies in there, like National Geographic, you know, what have you, The Atlantic. It's all in there, and it's unlimited access to even back issues. So that's
Wonderful.
kind of huge.
Wonderful.
And we're doing a lot of fundraising to make it work too.
I think it's worth noting that, the library is asking the village for a $3,000 increase in the allocation. There has not been an increase asked for, I believe, in the last 2 years. So, and, Jenny and her crew will also be, visiting the town of Bennington and asking for an increase from them as well.
Yes, we also receive funding through Shaftesbury, but we are not asking for an increase from that municipality. Yeah. Did I come in under 5 minutes?
Yes, and I just want to note that there are members of the audience that came in support of Jenny. So if any of the three of you wish to make a statement, we certainly can find time for that since you came out to support Jenny. So if there is anything anyone wants to say, speak up.
I would just add, I'm Judy Crane. I'm the chair of the trustees of the board now and for the library. And I just would like to speak on behalf of the board and say that we could not have a more wonderful director and staff at the library. And working with this group is it's a wonderful board. We do a lot to raise our own funds as much as we can. And it's an invaluable service and institution in this town. For those of you who remember it from the 60s. And even before then, it's nothing like that. It's more than just books. And it's a wonderful place, and we really appreciate
Thank you.
the help of the town. The village.
It's a
Thank you.
portal, not a box.
Yes.
Can I chime in,
Yes.
Mary?
Yes. Yes.
It's Sandy. And I'm a children's book author. I work with libraries all over the country, and I really want to just say and share a heartfelt thank you to Jenny and what she does, because we have, I think, the best library I've ever been to, and her newsletter rocks. And the programming, what she has going on there, what she offers our children and all of us in this village is really extraordinary. And I just want to say thank you so much. And you are seen and appreciated. And I know we're a little town, but little village, but I'm so grateful for what you do, because it really is, for me, the heart of the village. So thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Your collaboration with the village school, can you speak to that briefly?
Yes, so this is sort of I'm really pleased with the way this has worked out in the past year. For those who don't know, the library is able to enter into a partnership with the village school in which the assistant director, Cassidy, is half-time at the library, half-time at the village school, which allows both organizations the benefit of having a librarian working in both of those institutions. You're able to efficiently hire and retain a very talented librarian. And also, it has really provided a bridge for the kids between school and the library. And I think it's been mutually beneficial. And so it's similar to the arrangement that the village school has with VAE. So, it has to be subcontracted basically at the school. So the school pays for her work at the school. And the library pays for her work at the library. But together, we were able to retain a full-time employee. And she's just great. So, kids just love her.
Jennifer Bell.
Which understand that relationship with staffing that's co-located. The big benefit of it is the continuity. If you think of what parents are going through and children, you now have continuity between two organizations and how children learn, what they learn, messaging. So I come from healthcare, we do some of that co-location, and the benefits are exponential for that employee, for the organizations, and for the people they serve. The work is more effective.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you. That's a great point. Anything else from trustees? Thank you, Jenny. Thank you to all of you too. You're welcome to stay, or you cannot. But if we don't see you, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, anyone who is leaving. So we are actually not that far off of our agenda. At this point, we did change a little bit of the agenda at the beginning when we opened the meeting. We are now looking for review and approval of the minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes. We have our regular meeting from November 7th. We have a special meeting from November 20th, and we had a special meeting from December 5th. Trustees all have these. These are all on the website and marked as draft. And
I'll move that we accept the minutes of November 7th.
of November 7th.
Yes.
I'll second.
And that is seconded. All in favor or any questions?
Aye.
Aye.
Matthew is still there. Thank you. Okay, and then that leads us to the special meeting. The special meeting on November 27th was for the PAT 306 mini excavator to be purchased with surplus, the funds from other surplus equipment sales. And then Mr. Umflett from Bennington College also came to that meeting.
I'm gonna make a motion if I wrote them.
Yes,
Okay, I make a motion
okay.
to approve November 27th.
I abstain.
And I will second that. I will second that.
And
Any
I'll
questions?
have to abstain also.
Okay. So we have 2
Matt,
abstentions.
I'm here and I'm all in favor.
Okay, so that leaves 3 of us in favor and 2 abstentions, so that one's good. And then November 7th. Oops, wait, I got the wrong order, didn't I? December 5th, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in here.
It's in here, thank you. Oh, yeah,
I'm paying attention.
thank you. Yeah. And that was,
I'll make a motion to approve it.
okay,
I'll second.
seconded by Ray. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions on that one?
I'll abstain on this.
1 abstention on that one, and that's okay. Good. Then we will move right on from there to the warrants. Doug, take these in any order you see fit.
Okay, I have payroll on the top, so we'll go payroll first. Payroll, in the amount of $11,492.80. 2 regular 2 pay periods, 1 Aflac, so nothing out of the ordinary.
So moved.
Second.
Questions from trustees? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
I'll just bring all 3 of these over at once, or maybe
Okay.
you have copies.
yeah,
I can
but,
bring them.
yeah, let's use yours because I put these in here.
Next, I'll go to the late November warrant. That was in the amount of $20,793.55. The only item that is a one-time expense out of the ordinary was the purchase of the trailer that Norm had spoken about at the
Yeah.
special meeting. So that trailer was in the amount of $14,050, which was fully funded by the surplus.
Did we get the checks from the surplus yet?
Yes,
Okay,
we did receive that. I believe it was the last week that was
Okay.
received. Yes. Other than that, these are all normal bills.
okay.
Make a motion to approve the late November warrant.
Second,
Seconded by Scott. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
And the December warrant is in the amount of $77,123.20. I'll hit some of the highlights and answer any questions. Community Bank is a loan payment. I believe is a final payment. I'm just waiting for confirmation. That would be for highway equipment, which I believe is the backhoe. That is $25,737.50. Bongo Attachments is the piece for the whacker that Norm got in conjunction, so it comes from a different company
mhm,
than the actual whacker itself. This is the attachment that allows him to do the roadside, basically the brush hog. That is $11,639.99. And we have our first quarter for 2024 of property and casualty insurance, which is the amount of $13,466.50. So those three large items obviously is what's driving up the.
and the water department,
Right, there
will
be a portion,
reimburse
correct,
their
That
portion.
they'll pay within the
Yes.
first quarter, correct? Yeah. And other than that, everything is normal billing.
Any questions?
is the Wilmington PC legal services?
Yep,
Yes.
there's a
okay.
variety of different invoices there. That's not one invoice, but that's the village attorneys.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll move the way. approve it.
That was motion?
Motion
Yeah.
I'll second.
seconded.
All right.
Any questions? Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we are moving right along to Norm. Norm is here. Norm, it's all yours.
Okay,
Start wherever you want.
and let me turn that down. So can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, so, not really a whole lot to talk about this month. That Mongo attachment is actually for the excavator, not for the whacker.
Sorry,
So
thank
just
you
for correction
correcting
for that, it's not a real big deal. It's and it mows just like we were talking about. We've started in the winter, we've had a little storm, nothing big, no breakdowns. So that's about it. We've met and talked about a couple grants. I've sent a couple different proposals of a one. Well, we know we're going to do multiple years up to on Mechanic Street, but the last one was an actual 3-year plan. The grant amount that we could be awarded is 20,000. So you'd have to come to the garage and I kind of explain it to you. It's a little hard to see it, but we can do it in different pieces. It's unfortunate we don't have a good way to enter daylight or the river with our stormwater without either taking up an existing sidewalk or going through private property for a considerable distance.
we should, can you get to, Doug, the approximate cost of phase 1? And we will assume that we'll get the $20,000 grant with that, so Doug can put that in budget. I'd like to be able to, instead of just saying, okay, we've got $65,000 this year, kind of list out the specific projects that we'd like to do. So that would be one of them. And then the other grant, correct me if I'm wrong, was the grant and aid, which is the more stormwater runoff, and that might be Madison.
That's correct. We're not sure if that's going to happen to be a Madison Road grant,
Okay,
but that's where it is. The phase one of Mechanic Street is about $55,000. That's,
Stop, okay,
I sent that on that second spreadsheet.
okay. Yes, I did not have a chance to open all of that yet.
Yep. And that'll be the bulk of the big work, like getting through the sidewalk and stuff. We have to do that on the first round. So
Yeah.
the next one will just be pipe and boxes and a little blacktopping. So it won't be, it won't be a considerable amount of money.
So is that $50,000 all in, or is that net of a grant?
No, that's all in. So,
All in, okay,
actual parts that we would buy is probably about 20,000. So the rest is
Okay.
our labor and equipment rates.
right,
So, it's actually not bad. So on the next 2 years, if we continue to get the same grant, that's where we'll be able to recoup the first ones.
this year we can put some of that in.
Right,
Okay.
but we got to get through the sidewalk is where that is.
Did you want to talk about the Murray Brothers letter and the approximate, well, all in $49,000 to do the depot? The
Well,
roof and
as we
carpentry
sent
and all
to
that?
all the trustees, I sent it to Mary and then she forwarded it to you. There's some close-up pictures of the roof, extensive high-up damage. We've talked about it for years. George Elwell mentioned it the last time we painted, that those roofs need to be replaced. We've done some temporary patching. They are the last piece is all the little dormer roofs, which there's, I believe, 11, and that little 6-inch lip around the building. And then all the roofs will have been replaced within the last 5 years.
And
So that's a pretty big, piece to chew. But when you start making moldings and painting and stuff, it's easier to do it all than it is pieces.
And I think at the last, when we did the special budget meeting in a couple weeks ago, your estimate at the time was maybe $30,000 for the project, which is pretty darn close, because we can use 17 of our reserves and the $49,000 for this estimate here, and that comes in at 32, which is basically what we put in the budget last week.
Okay, yeah, and I was definitely on the lower end of that because I didn't have one of the big pieces.
Yeah.
And I just threw a number out of my hat just for a placeholder. Again, we could piecemeal it, but when the time we get to deal with the railroad and everything else, it might be time to just do it. Hopefully we can get some historic money. I mean, we've got this winter to really look, but and that is, at that point in time, the painter will actually paint a lot of the moldings on the ground before they go up. So when he goes up, he'll only have to paint them one time in the air. So,
well, we can put that in our preliminary budget here, and then trustees can look at everything once Doug has it all cooked together. But it almost does make sense to do it. It's not like it's going to repair itself. It's not like it's going to get any better. So,
no, it's getting worse by the year.
Yeah.
Again, get a hold of me, call me, we'll go up. We'll look. I'll bring the pictures and we can point it out. Bring a pair of binoculars so you can look and we can educate ourselves on the building.
Okay. The only other thing I wanted to note, not to interrupt you if you have something else to say. But
it's pretty much, this is right where we do maintenance and, on our vehicles and get things ready to go. So it's not a real busy month. We're doing some grant work and stuff like that and getting ready. We're starting to look in for painters to actually do some road striping next year. So we're on top of that. We've got our guardrail was replaced at the end of College Road, and it took about 6 months to fight with the insurance company, but I got a check today.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see a bill for Lafayette at some point, you know, that, that
Okay.
money is just, in and out, but at least it covers the
Right.
repairs.
And then we will put in, Scott had asked this in an earlier meeting, that we put in some budget funds. Do you think if we put in $5,000 for paint striping, are we anywhere near the broadside of a barn?
I really don't know. I will have a better answer hopefully by the end of the week, what the,
Okay.
because they do a linear foot, it might be 0.5 cents a linear foot per stripe, and then we can just do a measurement and I can come, but 5,000 is a respectable placeholder.
Just, yeah, as a placeholder, okay. And then, on other line items, I had asked Doug to move 2 lines from the highway budget and put it under the public works, the parks, and that is the tree maintenance and the tree reserve. Because, Jeff Gray had asked as tree warden that we budget between $800 and $1,000 each year for the next couple of years to keep going on the removal of invasive vegetation at our 2 bridges. And if people haven't seen that, it looks darn nice. But he was advised that, it is invasive, and by that name, it's gonna come back if you don't control it. So they suggested a couple of years of doing that. And then, we have our normal tree work, and so that's all of that stuff that the tree warden really looks after. I've just asked him to push it there. As long as it's budgeted, it's just, to me, a little bit,
No, it definitely should. It's good we keep a line item for that.
Yeah.
On tree business.
Yeah.
I've noticed last week, and I got an email from Tom Fells today. If you go on the North Street and you go on the bridge, it's called BR 72, and you look up, we have a couple young beavers trying to make a new home there. I don't know how we're gonna deal with that at this time. If it doesn't affect anything, we'll probably just let nature do its course, and they just can live in harmony. But we may have to evict.
Well, let's hopefully we can relocate them. Beavers are great animals to have. Maybe not in our village, but they're great animals to have. So that's all I wanted to know. Any questions for Norm?
Good job, Norm.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, take care. Where are we? Doug, did you have anything you needed to update on the fire department?
Fire, no, nothing since the
Okay.
meeting that we
Okay.
had.
Then we can run right on to your treasurer's report.
Okay. So I'll start with taxes. As of December 1st, allotment from the village to the schools were paid. The Mount Anthony school, the high school, was paid in full. That amount as required by the state was $760,579.50. The North Bennington graded school portion. So the calculation works out, they were paid $200,000 in November, and then December 1st was $794,922.56, and that amount is less the outstanding delinquencies as of December 1st, which I'll talk about in a second. And that's the way that it's gone for years. So that will go through, and we'll continue to collect delinquencies and transfer. The delinquencies were up this year, which is not a surprise, given the economy, by history of banking. If you look at unsecured debt, credit cards, auto loans, all those delinquencies are up. So the fact that tax delinquencies is up was not a big surprise to me. I was happy though that from the time of delinquency, which the first calculation was done on November 17th, and principal amount was, little over 179,000, which was up from prior, like I said, to the next report in December. It is down significantly. And it is down basically to the amount that it was last year in
Good,
November.
good.
So in that 3-week period, it basically has
Yeah.
reverted back to what it was. So as of 12/9, the principal amounts owed in total for the village is just a hair over 19,000, and the school is a little over 75,000. So those are the delinquencies as of December that are being collected upon. And there is a portion of those that have already begun to correct it, whether it be a partial payment, full payment, things like that. So the delinquencies are coming in. Anybody have any questions about taxes before I move to the next couple of things that I have? I just wanted to note that the village did receive a thank you card from Sunrise Family Resource for they called the donation for the allocation of $500. So just want to recognize that they did send a thank you card for that. I am in email communication with a accounting firm in Latham. That again, we're fingers crossed, we may be using for the audits going forward, for both the water and the village.
Sure.
So I'll keep everybody up to date. We're going back and forth with one of the partners there. He wanted to review the most recent audits to kind of see where we were at, to make a determination. We fit what they do, and then give us pricing, we can make those determinations. I make this reminder every once in a while. There was a few around Thanksgiving, email phishing. I'm never going to ask a trustee to make a payment, to buy a gift card, to do any of those types of things. If you have a question, contact me directly, either via email or through the phone to confirm. But that's not going to be
The same
way
for
that
any of our names.
that's my follow-up
Because
is.
They've done it to her. too.
Exactly, that was my next follow-up, was emails coming from trustee emails that are publicly accessible because of the website.
Yeah.
So if you have a question, just, reach out. And through email, block the sender. You can also click on, there's a report, as a phishing attempt. It's not that much happens, but at least you're blocking that email. And the last piece I wanted to talk about, was the culvert grant. So we received our reimbursement from the state. So we received a check for $187,057.75, which was the amount we asked for. Was that like 20%, Mary?
Yes, it was.
20%, right? So 20% was the village in, the remainder was coming back. So the great news on this, through Norm's hard work, and I wish I should have said it for him a whole lot. The actual paid expenses from the village was $122,518.05.
Yes.
So the difference of the $64,539.70 was the labor, the use of the equipment, which we get reimbursed for. So some of the discussion was, we have things, the Hall Street engineering, sidewalk projects that we talked about in the last budget for, sidewalks, we talked about Church and Bank. And then some of the paving potential was George, Gary, and Park. So over the next few months, we can have discussions regarding that 64,000.
That's right. Get some of that in.
And where we want to earmark it so that we use it in this fiscal year to avoid carryover.
Excellent. That's thrilling.
Any other questions? Otherwise, that's all I got.
That sounds great. Yes.
Really?
And it is all perfectly, it is part of those grants. You do put in your salaries, and you do put in, there are standards that you use for your own use of equipment.
Right.
This
and
is
the
not
rates are set
budging
by the
anything.
state.
That's right.
Yep.
It's not
Norm
budging
uses
anything in any way.
Norm uses the state forms. We had a spreadsheet
Yes.
that had everything down to the penny, and the state has to approve it.
And,
So,
and this is why when Norm was saying in our meeting the other day, that if he purchased, that huge big dump truck for $500 through the surplus program, he gets to charge off that use. Now, at some point, we will sell that dump truck, but if he had to rent it or pay somebody else to do it, our actual expenses would be much closer to the
Right.
180,000.
Oh, probably more.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So,
And it would have been right, because we had one rental, which was I believe it was a pump. And it was around $4,000.
yeah,
So I couldn't imagine what a rental for a full-size dump truck for what you would need to use it for would have been.
Does anyone know who has access to that surplus? I know it's specific people. Is it municipalities?
it is
or-
municipalities, and I forget off the top of my head, but there is some military or former military connection.
Okay. I was just curious, because, you know, we have all these
Yeah.
lovely people that might
Yeah.
need equipment.
And the fact of the matter is that people do need a piece of equipment. The village can purchase it. The village must own it for 18 months, but then it can be turned around. Do we look to say somebody's like, oh gosh, I'd like to replace my yard tractor or my mower? No, we don't do that. We don't, trustees don't look in their garages and say, what can I repair? Let's go talk to Norm. That would be somewhat of a conflict, but if there was one of our partners,
Norm
that-
offered to buy a batch of 40, you know, the pedal books.
yeah,
The some lady was selling them, and it was like, Norm, we should do this. But it'll just cost you $25, and then we can sell that, Norm, how am I gonna get them?
but you know what? This all goes to the previous discussion that everyone's talking about. This is a village of partnerships. And this is a village that just goes beyond our own little silos. So that's pleasant to know. Any other questions for Doug?
Okay.
Okay, we, gosh, this is great. Kim, can you give a very brief update on what our potential schedule is to complete the land use ordinance and zoning bylaw?
Well, can you hear me?
Yes,
I'm not positive, but my expectation is that we should have a final draft in front of the Planning Commission, minus the maps, unless we're able to move heaven and earth, by our January meeting. And then a completed document by the February meeting, and then we can begin to schedule the public meeting in March, I would guess.
okay. We do, Norm and I have been excuse me, my apologies. Kim and I have been in contact with BCRC because we had applied probably 2 years ago for a small planning grant. It was $500 to help us with this process. But that needed to be completed like now. And there was way too much work that went into this document. There were way too many things that came out of the review that to try to rush something for the sake of $500 was just not wise. So we are foregoing that small grant, but this is going to be the appropriate piece of work, the way to do it. And hopefully we can have it done. I guess maybe we can even, I don't know if we should, no, it should be a standalone meeting, not part of the annual meeting. Do you think?
I think it should be a standalone meeting, yes.
Okay, okay. All right. Well, stay tuned. The commission is doing its best. Kim is the sole typist redoing all of this, and it is extensive. So thank you, Kim, for all of that effort that you put into this. As I mentioned, when we started the meeting, Alyssa is postponing the comments that she was going to make under the new business citizen comments. So we can now commence with the discussion of the firearms ordinance that the group several. Who else is here? Are you here for that, sir? Yes, okay, okay. So there were a group of citizens, oops, let me get myself together. Who, the article, the ordinance on discharge of firearm currently says no person, whether hunting, target shooting, or for any other purpose, shall discharge a firearm within 500 feet of a residential or other building which is occupied or designed to be occupied by human beings, or any structure used or designed to be used by domestic farm animals, including but not limited to barns and stables, anywhere in the village of North Bennington. The citizen group wished to have this revised to read, no person, whether hunting, target shooting, or for any other purpose, shall discharge a firearm within the village center and village residential zoning districts of the village of North Bennington. There is an exclusion that says this ordinance does not preclude the discharge of firearms in one's own defense or in the defense of another, or the humane termination of any animal that appears rabid or which poses an immediate threat to any person or persons. This ordinance shall not apply to a law enforcement officer or to an agent of any federal, state, or municipal agency using or discharging a firearm within the course of his or her employment and acting within the scope of his or her legal authority. We then sent this to the village attorney because there had been questions from the board as to whether this was too narrow, whether this might be
Outside of our scope.
right permission,
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
We have gotten a legal opinion back that basically says, therefore, it is our opinion that the revisions to the firearms discharge ordinance proposed by the village of the residents of the village, as set out in the attachment to this letter, which is what I just read, are within the authority of the trustees to adopt if they wish to do so. The trustees may also consider other restrictions or prohibitions on the discharge or use of firearms within the scope of the statute quoted. And the statute basically says that a municipality can regulate the discharge or use of a firearm, but cannot do anything about the possession. It's not the village's job to say who can own or keep a firearm. It's also important to say that the statute also addressed the fact that a person could not then say, well, I want my yard to be a shooting range, and therefore I'm not subject to this. That doesn't count. So that's where we are.
Mary, would you read the geographic part? I zoned out.
Okay.
Where is it the entire?
No person shall discharge a firearm within the village center and village residential zoning districts of the village of North
So
Bennington.
that would preclude the properties out on West Street. Is that true? That any of, because that's not village residential.
On West Street, it's.
Yeah.
Yes,
Might
it is.
be, that's.
It might be conservation. Yeah, it doesn't include
So it
conservation
doesn't-
based on that.
Yeah.
Or the commercial, or the historic. The
Well,
historic
that's-
is-
Well, village
That's village
center,
center.
that's-
yeah.
Yeah, what about the lake?
I don't have the map,
District hearing?
so I don't know what that is.
Chris, do you know off the top of your head?
No. See if I can rip it up.
Let's all go upstairs. We'll talk about it.
Ken might,
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
include the industrial area, which is in the village center.
okay,
Oh, that's good.
okay.
That's, Perrin is included in that?
No, that,
No, Kim is saying that the industrial center, the industrial part, which is
Zone.
down here, is zoned, but it is within the village center.
Right. Kim, do
Well-
you know where Perrin falls in? The lake, I mean.
It should be in the yard.
They can discharge guns on the lake because it's a state hunting.
Hunting,
So
Right, and most of the lake is not in North Bennington either.
yeah, right.
Yeah, most of the lake is not in North Bennington. It's only a small quadrant.
Right. Most of it's in Bennington.
I'm suspecting that when citizens wrote this, they were concerned about the fact that if there is a house 500 feet from you and someone is shooting, could a bullet travel more than 500 feet and inadvertently hit your house or you? I'm guessing that's what it was.
The ordinance seems to permit the discharging of firearms in the zoning areas that are not included. So in
Yes.
conservation, there's no 500-foot limitation anymore.
No, there is still a 500 foot because that is a state regulation.
But that's like the default, like every part of the month.
Yeah.
But if I do wonder though, if citizens are asking for language change and specifying certain districts, whether the other districts should be noted that, just for clarity, that but within these districts, the 500-foot rule prevails.
Say that again?
I would
saying
support that language
Yeah.
change.
I think that, and I don't know that we're at a point in this meeting that we're gonna craft the language and do anything. But I think perhaps if the trustees wish to continue with this and look at a change to the ordinance, we might really want to look and craft that language so it doesn't just say the village center and village residential districts, but it also then reaffirms that if it's the other districts not noted above, the 500-foot rule prevails. And
it would be
Again.
interesting to have a list of, let's say we adopt it as it's written for residential zones in the village center. What areas would then be allowed to discharge
exactly,
fire?
and I don't know that. but
Yeah,
I
so it'd be
think it
good
should
to
listed.
exhaustively
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
each one. And I don't think it would be a very long list.
no, but I guess I would ask that the citizens who brought forth this matter, if they wish to sit with and craft language with whomever else is interested and come back with a final.
Maybe we should ask VCRC about drawing a map showing the consequences of these.
We do have these maps,
It looks like Perrin's in VR 20, by the way.
which is village
Village
residential.
residential.
Anything that's VR is village residential.
Well, but what this doesn't take, I don't know about contiguous
Contiguous,
areas that you might be able to discharge a firearm in. And with respect to the restricted areas and where you might end up firing into a restricted area.
oh,
So there's VR, there's VC, village commercial,
yeah,
there's village professional, but VRP.
That's why I think a map,
yeah.
I've got some map those right now.
There's campus. And there's historic.
Yeah, so
Conservation is,
Oh.
Yeah.
there must be one.
conservation is, wait, where is it that way?
And
Yeah.
the historic is an overlay
It's like
district.
all of Park Street.
So-
The Christmas trees.
Can you repeat that? I think that was important.
The historic district is an overlay district, so it it's really not applicable to this. Neither is the shoreland or the flood hazard areas.
Okay.
So you'd need to name the individual districts. And I think we need to work with whoever is proposing this ordinance change
Yes.
to draft the language more accurately.
And I also wonder, since the planning commission had considered, which there's no final out yet, but had considered making some changes to the zoning district designations, we might want to wait until that document is completed before we launch into this.
But so, for example, how would we, get the opinion of people, for example, in conservation district? Because there's a lot of space out there in terms of the 500-foot issue that just people.
Well, first of all, we would have another a warned meeting on this. There is a process. You have the warned meetings. This is the first, just because there's a discussion with no proposal on the table. If there is language that is then approved, adopted by the trustees, then it goes to be posted in 5 public places within 14 days of that, and put documented in the newspaper, along with what the rights are of those who wish to yes, and perhaps challenge that. And so there is a process for doing this, and then it's, if there is no appeal to that after it gets posted, then it's 60 days, or when the trust, or longer if the trustees determine it, before it is enacted.
And it's a vote of the trustees that either up or down.
The trustees do make that decision, and then it goes back into the public sphere for any comment. Or
I will
concerns.
say that any fund-owned land, like the fund for North Bennington land, because it's privately owned, but they let the public use it, is not, they can't hunt on that land.
No, it's supposed to,
Yeah, yeah, so that section is protected.
right. And that's all Shasbury, well, not that, no.
And I will note that Shasbury had the language that was proposed by the citizens.
As in we took it from their ordinance.
I assume that's where the citizens found it.
Can I add a comment?
Yes, Steve
Turn down your volume a little, Steve.
Lennox.
Yes.
There you go.
Turn your
Or all the
volume.
way.
Sorry, we have side-by-side computers.
Yeah.
My only comment is that the definition of 500 feet from a structure is widely interpreted. I believe, if I'm correct, that the Bennington police exempt your own house from that. So I could stand next to our house 10 feet away and shoot, which seems to be counterintuitive. So I think that should be clarified in the language where it says 500 feet from any structure, inclusive of one's own property.
Well, the ordinance, the revision that was proposed here prohibits the discharge anywhere. So that 500 feet only would hold if the residents want only the village center and the residential districts. So if there is anything other than village center and residential districts, then there would be the 500-foot fallback. But if it's not residential, is anyone living there?
Well, I think the issue that came up is it was in a VR district that shooting was happening and police were called and the police dismissed it.
Right.
But this addendum will include
Yes.
the VR district.
Yes, and the police will enforce exactly what the ordinance is. And yes, it is widely, interpreted that your own residence doesn't count under the current regulation.
What would be the punishment of visit?
Well, there are, and I can read it, but I don't know.
Are there
if we want to-
fines or-
Yes, there are civil fines that
Okay.
are part of this.
I think it starts as the police
Yeah.
warn them to
Yeah.
stop, and then.
But there is a whole process for assessing fines, and that's just another whole matter.
Right. Okay. Well, I think this is real progress, and I like Ray's idea of seeing a map
Mhm.
that would have. Well, yes, but this doesn't have where firearms are. You'd have to go to each district.
You
But
mean, you.
in other
you
words,
want a
just a
that says,
map
no,
of
you
the,
can't shoot here.
map of the village,
Got it.
and then all the areas where it's prohibited,
Okay.
and that's it.
And that could
That would
be
be
done.
pretty easy to
That
get.
could be done, but what I would want to wait for is for the planning commission to finish their work in case there is a change to
A district.
a district.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's what Kim was alluding to, that we'd have to move heaven and earth to get maps done in the way the commission has envisioned by what, 3-4 weeks from now?
right.
Yeah.
Now, do these, would this appear in the zoning bylaws, or it's not?
No, this is an ordinance. It's
So it's not a
not, it's
bylaw.
not a bylaw.
Okay,
It will appear in our ordinances and be
Yes.
given to the police.
Yes.
They know that.
good.
Okay, so are we okay with then working on this further and maybe in January or February, taking this up? And, okay. All right. Matthew, did you want to make a comment? Because I know this was something that you had asked at one of our previous meetings, if our attorney would weigh in on it.
No, I think this is an okay outcome at this point. How does the residents of the area feel about it?
What do you guys?
Yeah.
Did you want to make a comment?
If the town has the right to restrict people's use of their own property, if they're complying with the state regulation of being 500 feet from anyone else's house.
Yeah.
Assuming their own is exempt, that does the town really have the right to tell people what they can and can't do on their property?
Yes, when it comes to discharge of firearms, a municipality can do so.
Okay.
That's why we checked in with our lawyer before
Yeah.
we proceeded,
Yeah.
because it wasn't
So,
super
when I came
clear.
down here, I wasn't sure if it was just people about hunting going on in the lake, just wake up, I got gun shots, and I'm like, maybe they got something, you know?
Yeah.
Put food on the table, whatever, and it was like, oh, we saw a dead duck, and I was like, oh, I guess the dog missed it, or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
it landed on the ground
Well,
somewhere.
And I do think it's important when there's any of these discussions that we hear from all voices.
The reason I came personally was to see about, recently started a Green Mountain Boys historic reenactment troop. We don't fire any actual bullets, just black powder, no projectiles. And I've been practicing with our boys, which is 4 to 6 guys at a time.
Mhm.
Usually like once or twice a month. On our property, which has got plenty of space to fire safely in the good direction. With an eye towards the 250th centennial of the Battle of Bennington.
Good.
We'll also be sponsored by, Norm actually sponsored us for the VFW membership.
Yeah.
We should do that. And, we're planning on recruiting, if anybody's interested, Green Mountain Boys to raise the awareness of the revolutionary contribution that was made in this area. So obviously, if my house is in a VR district and there's a total ban on it. then-
Well, you know what? I think that's something that maybe we look at and we craft language that if it is, yes, to exempt historic reenactments,
Well,
especially when you're right, there's no projectiles going anywhere.
I'm also in favor of children, personally, the other side, being taught safe use of firearms under the supervision of their parents, how to be responsible, how to learn to shoot, safely, with proper backstops, not into anybody else's yard or across roads.
Mhm.
The kids need to be taught these things. They can't just get it all from watching movies where people are,
Yes.
So I
Yes.
do think there's a place for the proper education of children in how to shoot safely. And if you restrict that too much, then nobody's gonna know. And all they'll know is what they see on the movies, and that's pretty bad.
That's a good
I'm not
thing.
entirely sure I'm 100% in favor of it anyway.
Yeah,
From a Second Amendment standpoint, I don't think we need to be stricter than the state. Vermont's already a fairly restrictive state, better than most in the,
mhm,
blue states. But, I think that you do have to consider everybody.
Yeah.
And I can understand if somebody's got a small yard and they're shooting there, how it could be a problem. But there should also probably be some consideration given the people that have the space to do it properly, safely, whatever. And also, personally, it's more of just the, reenactment standpoint that I'm looking at this moment.
mhm.
So exempting that would obviously be something I'd be in favor of. Also, the end of having like a 21 Elm Street downtown, we do the Memorial Day flag ceremony or something like that. Are you gonna say, okay, what if it's a funeral for the veteran or something?
Yeah,
So there's a lot of exemptions that should be considered. before you
I
make a
do want to
plan.
say the hunter safety programs in Vermont, which are gun discharging, are fabulous and very, I think Vermont has like the best safety record in terms of hunter injury. Because I think it does a very good job.
Good.
Yeah.
Adults and children.
And I'm relative.
Yeah.
well, thank you for coming out, because
Well,
I think this is where we really need to hear
Yeah.
lots of voices on something, because there are unintended things that could happen if you don't listen to all.
New York State passed some pretty restrictive gun control laws in their last round of bills and through. And one of them really caused a problem with the reenactment community not being able to go and do the sort of demonstrations of, what happened.
Yeah.
So your name is Raul?
Yes.
Yeah, my name's Scott Creedy. Let's assume for a second that this passed and it went into effect. Are there areas where you could then go to practice that it would be allowed? Uh-huh, right. Cause that's something that didn't occur to me at all.
Did you have a troop, were you with, I saw a troop of people over on, Mechanic Street, the big house. Were you- Yeah,
So, it might have even posted on the Bennington blotter, like, don't be alarmed.
Yeah.
But come out and join us. So yeah, that's great.
and I would echo your comments that there are really exciting plans going on for 3 years all around the 250th. And lots of people putting lots of time in it. There was a nice article in the paper a week or so ago, and just keep tuned to it, because I think it's going to be fabulous for lots of communities throughout the state. Please come back and update us on
Yeah, I'll plan on following along and seeing how
what's
this
going on.
progresses.
Yeah, especially if there's anything that happens in the, well, North Bennington, I don't know if you were here, but the Breckenridge standoff reenactment was down in our own McWaters Park.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
And I had my entire family visiting that day for a special event and couldn't make it for the children. But I did make like the arrested Remember Baker up at the church.
Yeah, yeah.
Stuff like that.
And I couldn't make that
I'm
one.
back to the, reading of the declaration of the monument.
Yeah.
Aside along
Yeah,
with
yeah.
reading it. So it would be, I think, good, and I do hope that Norris Health and sponsoring us, that we'll be able to work with the VFW at Veterans Day memorials and things like that as well. That's the hope. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Jenny.
There may be an elegant way of doing this.
I think it would be looking into the definition of discharge. If discharge implies the use of a projectile, or if powder or if blanks count or not. So that might be the.
Right,
Okay, I made a note of that one
yeah,
too.
that would be in ten BSA 5227.
Okay, well, I think that is at least part of our discussion here today. We've made some progress and thankfully heard lots of voices and lots of perspectives. Is there anybody else wish to make a comment on that matter?
I would just say that I have on occasion had to discharge a firearm on the farm, not for the purpose of a rabid animal or an animal that presented a danger, but rather an injured animal that needed to be humanely euthanized.
And there is that specific.
It
That's
didn't
specifically
say,
carved out.
yeah, it says that, but it doesn't specifically say just an animal that needs to be humanely euthanized. It specifies rabid and or a danger. So
Okay,
that's worth noting that,
okay,
and it's not in the conservation district right now,
Yeah.
so it may not pertain to this.
okay, okay,
And I think my neighbor does allow hunting on his property. So in the conservation district.
okay. Okay, so, you get into language and boy, words matter. Any other comments on that?
What else we got?
That really is it for this part of our meeting. We're way ahead of time, which is lovely. We could follow up if any trustees have, or Doug has any questions on, any of our other budget questions or
I
concerns.
think we hit everything.
We got that? Okay. And then, we do
Hey,
have,
Matthew, I just want to say one thing before you guys go. The sculpture class from Bennington College is currently having their little open studio at my place. Like 7 to 9, if anyone wants to go and see the sculpture stuff that the kids have put together. It's a fun thing to look at. Tonight, right now. Yeah. Yeah, it's just the sculpture 101 class that got to present in a location.
Oh, cool.
But they're going until 9 and I figure you might be into it.
Right.
Yeah.
okay. We do have executive session items. One very brief, one which was for the water department, but they were not gonna come until closer to 8:30. So I can update, we can talk about other things
Thanks
until
for
they
coming.
come.
Thank you.
But,
Thanks for-
this motion is in 2 parts. Thank you so much.
The next meeting, actually, I'm sorry, it's not. I wanted to hear about that.
Well, we always
And
like
were
to see,
Portland supposed to come and speak?
they were online.
Oh.
They were on Zoom.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Chris.
No question?
Nope.
Concern? Okay.
Nothing concerning you. Do you have any concerns?
No.
Excellent.
So
Have a good evening.
thank you.
Sir.
The first motion is making a motion that we need to discuss a personnel matter for which premature disclosure would put the village at a substantial disadvantage. That is motion 1.
Motion, so moved. Yeah.
Motion moved, okay. Questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And then the second motion is to move into executive session.
So moved.
Cat TV, I have, oh, yes, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. That was moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
We will move into executive session, Cat TV. I do not know if there is going to be, well, there is gonna be one motion made at some point here, so I will pause this recording and I will put Cat TV in the waiting room. I'm sorry that I neglected to hit the button. But a motion was made after reviewing a settlement, mediation between Galen Road and the village of North Bennington. The mediation concluded with a settlement agreement. After having reviewed the settlement agreement, and receiving the recommendation of the mediation attendees, Matthew Patterson made a motion to ratify the settlement agreement. That was seconded by Ray Molyneux and so voted by all in attendance.
Which is on the recording.
Yes, but yes,
Not on Cat.
yes, but Cat TV now has that. So now that that's done, we are going to re-enter an executive session to discuss another matter where premature disclosure would put the village at a substantial disadvantage. So I'm asking that we discuss that matter. That was moved by Ray, seconded, all in favor, aye. And now we need another vote to enter executive session.
Do we put Cat TV back in?
Yes, once,
So moved.
okay, so we're entering,
David needs to exit.
yes,
Thank
David
you.
will, and Cat TV, I
Dave.
do not think there are
Yeah.
any, thank you, David. I don't believe there are any votes that are going to come out of this one.